And Prince Philip was, of course, devoted to his Queen, defending the monarchy and his patronages, but he was also a really dedicated father.
In a special program pre-recorded before his death for the BBC, his 4 children paid tribute to him.
Really beautiful tribute, and there has never been and may never be again a partnership as strong, long-lasting and romantic than the Queen and Prince Philip's.
Now, they married in November of 1947, and over 7 decades later, they were still by each other's side until the very end. And it was clear from the very beginning that theirs was a love built to last.
He has quite simply been my strength and stay all these years, and I and his whole family owe him a debt greater than he would ever claim or we shall ever know.
Being married to the Queen, it seemed to me that my first duty was to serve her in the best way I could.
It was a partnership that lasted for more than 70 years. Philip, Britain's longest-serving consort, always at the side of his wife, the Queen, a proud man who had to give up his own naval career. A man who helped modernise the monarchy. The great outsider, with a reputation for bluntness and plain speaking, became the steadying hand behind the House of Windsor.
Prince Philip was a remarkably successful consort to the Queen. As far as duty was concerned, never put a foot wrong, was immensely able, conscientious, looked after youth. I think that he's probably the most successful consort there's been.
Dartmouth, where the King...
It was at a Royal Naval College that 13-year-old Elizabeth met the young cadet Philip.
As a parade and inspection.
It was here that Louis Mountbatten, Philip's uncle, saw the chance of some matchmaking.
The college was in the grip of an outbreak of mumps. So the 2 princesses sort of put in isolation, and who was asked to look after them? Well, it was Prince Philip, and that was definitely Mountbatten's instruction. And it was during that time that we're told that Princess Elizabeth became absolutely smitten with her sort of dashing, blonde third cousin.
As a midshipman, he'd taken part in the Battle of Cape Matapan.
During World War II, Philip was mentioned in dispatches. He controlled the searchlights of a destroyer during a battle against the Italian Navy. And as war raged, the princess wrote to Philip at sea, and he spent leave at Windsor Castle. But there were formidable obstacles to their courtship.
Philip was seen by the government and the royal household as a rather dangerous influence. They thought he was too German, they thought he was too independent, and there was a lot of snobbery about him not having a fixed abode or a home, not having much money. They didn't see him as someone who'd fought bravely on the Allied side. They didn't see him as someone who was devoted to the monarchy.
When the war was over, they both attended the wedding of one of Lord Mountbatten's daughters. It seemed that they only had eyes for each other. And in the end, Elizabeth's determination to have her man won the day.
In these, the first special studies of the pair since the news of their engagement, it's easy to see the radiant happiness of the princess as she and her very good-looking husband-to-be pose for the cameras in the palace. Then, lucky omen, a sweep stands by just before the bridegroom enters his car.
On the morning of the wedding, Philip was made Duke of Edinburgh, but doubts about him persisted.
Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, was inevitably charmed by Prince Philip. But I think in the early days she did have her reservations about it. His uncle was Earl Mountbatten of Burma, and a lot of people had reservations about Mountbatten. And Prince Philip was rather like a younger version of Dickie Mountbatten. He was go-getting, he was can-do, he was slightly abrasive, and, you know, he picked up the telephone and got things done. And that wasn't quite the way the stiff upper lip British courtiers used to behave.
Into the forecourt of the palace and through the gates comes the gilded coach, 2 centuries old, bearing the young queen to her crown.
At the coronation in 1953, Philip delivered his oath of allegiance to the young queen.
I, Philip,
to become your liege man of Lytham.
He took the leading role in the royal family itself, given the major say in raising of the children.
Here in Philip, we have almost the first sort of house husband. This is the 1950s. He is the head of the family, even though, of course, the Queen is head of the firm.
Prince Philip will be remembered for being at the Queen's side, supporting her for so long. Here in his element during the Thames River pageant to mark the Diamond Jubilee. At the age of 96, the Duke made his last official solo public appearance in August 2017. He had carried out more than 22,200 engagements during his long career of public service. Fittingly, his last as Captain General of the Royal Marines. All were aware of the significance of the event. They sang "For He's a Jolly Good Fellow" as he waved to the crowds and returned back to Buckingham Palace, his duty to the Queen and his country done.